Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to Adam's TV Podcast. I am your host, Adam Samuel, and today we are talking some X Factor UK. We had our top 6 week, and we also had a top 4 week, kind of. And we're going to be going over both these episodes. We're going to go through all the performances, talk about the results, because we might have lost someone we maybe shouldn't have. But we'll talk about that a little bit in a few minutes. But joining me today is my co-host, Eric. How you doing today, Eric?
I am very, very happy, and we'll touch on today's results show later. But I could have been very, very, very angry as well. So I'm happy it went a certain way.
All right, let's take a moment. Let's not bury the headline. This week we lost three actually singers. We lost Danny, who kind of was expected, Casey and Aaliyah, finally, and Brendan Murray. Eric, you have a few words to say about these contestants that we lost this week?
Of the three, if you asked me 2 weeks ago who I would be the saddest to lose out of those three, I wouldn't have said Brendan, but today I will say Brendan with my favorite of the three, and I'm sad he's gone a little bit.
I'm a little bummed he's gone.
I'm a little bit bummed he's gone because you were enjoying rooting for him. But honestly, the only two that I really cared about were Dalton and Scarlett, and they both made the final, so I'm happy.
Brendan was our CC Fry of the season. He's
not.
Yeah, he was the underdog, the singer that was kind of like.
I'd say Casey and Aaliyah filled that role and they also had the lack of talent that CC had.
All right, so maybe that's not the best. The underdog story was Brendan, the little interim that could, and I just want to say the fact that he made it to
Haley Reinhart situation.
All right, so maybe Brendan. That's like heresy of the highest order. Like Haley's up here, Brendan's like.
Oh, totally.
But
no comparison between.
I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit more. I'm just shocked that Casey and Aaliyah escaped that first round of elimination. Like once I heard they were safe, I was like, this is.
I thought they were gonna make a final before the results were announced, and then when Scarlett was in the bottom two, the one good thing about that is that they would have saved them over Anthony, I think. So
let's talk about this because this is a development that we discovered this week, actually today, a few hours earlier, that our top two was Dalton and Anthony. They were the top two vote getters of the top 4 week, and that kind of leads me to think in a certain direction. Do you kind of believe that maybe we've been underestimating how many votes Anthony's been getting all season? Do you think maybe there's a chance he's been in that top 3 all season long?
Well, the good news about X Factor, my favorite thing about X Factor, is we don't have to wait too long to find out. Because actually next week we will know how every single vote played out by percentage.
When do we usually get that news?
We get that about an hour or two after a final episode airs.
I'm most interested now that Anthony, the fact that he was in that top 2, I'm interested to see where his placing was all season, because we've kind of placed him middle pack. Maybe at best high middle pack, but never in the front runner.
But what I'm curious about is did Dalton win every single week? I think that's entirely possible.
I also want to know how Brendan did last week because he survived, but he had a really strong performance. So I am interested. Did he kind of shoot up and was this kind of a one-time thing? I don't know, but let's kind of go back. The
one thing I will say is when the vote results are even remotely interesting, when there's changes a lot, they will tell you that on the show. Like 2 years ago, I think every single person in the top 4 had topped the vote and come in the bottom 2.
I guess that's a little bit something.
So there's nothing. If there was that level of change every week, they would have told us because it would have made it more interesting. So.
All right. There is one contestant we didn't really touch on yet. Their X Factor run in memoriam. We're mourning them. We didn't talk about Danny at all. Danny was on this season, and I feel like he went pretty far, and I feel like he's one of the more forgettable of the group. Why do you think I don't think what went wrong with Danny?
I think if anything, he was the least forgettable. Only of the 3 that got cut, only because he didn't know when to stop talking. Did you see when he said he was proud to be a club singer and a karaoke singer? Did you say
I
that?
might have.
Oh,
I
God.
mean,
I'm like, Danny, you should have quit while you were ahead. They were being relatively nice to you. So yeah.
all right. Let's take it back. Let's go back to top 6 week. Let's go over some of these performances. Going into the week where we left off our podcast last week, you had broken the news to me that this week was going to be ABBA week, which is
And thankfully I was wrong.
I was
But
kind
that's
of
what they said. So to be fair, they lied to us.
I mean, I was thinking in my head like, all right, we've got Dancing Queen, we've got Mamma Mia, and that's all the songs I know of ABBA. Are you more familiar with their music, Eric?
Well, because I have a Mamma Mia soundtrack album when I was really young and listened to it nonstop. Yes, I knew a lot of the songs. I knew all 6 in the montage at least.
Yeah, in the montage, I had no idea who any of these songs were. I was like, okay, but I guess we kind of tossed that whole idea. Like, what kind of happened there? Like, was ABBA the original theme and they switched it to like a free choice? Like, what was kind of going on here?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know what the plan was originally or if they changed it at all. All I know is I'm really happy with how we ended up this week. The format this week was perfect as a top 6 semifinal could possibly be, in my view. Every single contestant in the top 4 sang 3 times this week. That's excellent. That's a good number.
Yeah, one thing I did kind of miss, no sing off for the first episode.
Well,
I kind of missed it.
I think I would have preferred to hear all of them sing like every minute, which is what they did, rather than have just 2 of the lowest vote getters.
I just would have. I mean, it was a little brutal, is all I'm saying. Like, these people have made it this far, and to just go slice, like, it felt a little harsh, is all I can really say.
Yeah, well, the bloodbaths always feel harsh, and I do prefer to have it at the start of the season, personally. But
I guess I should also mention that going into this week, we were at a 4-2 draft split down the middle, and I think we're now at a 2-1, right, Eric?
And you did you have Anthony?
I have Anthony. I had all the boys.
Congratulations! You just won the X Factor draft.
Well,
you won it weeks ago, to be fair, but
we'll see. All right. Let's just see. Something I did notice with the first episode, the order. A lot of people were kind of mentioning this. I was reading this on Twitter and on comments on the YouTube videos. The producers, I feel, kind of had an outcome that they wanted, and they might have maybe ordered the contestants a certain way so that they would get it. Some people are saying that maybe they wanted to see Brendan and Danny go, and they were both kind of placed at the most 100%. Inopportune time for the voting. Do you kind of think there's any truth to it, Eric?
I don't think the order is what mattered. I think you can tell by like what the comments they got. I think that was 100% the result they wanted for night 1. And night 2, I think they didn't get what they wanted. They wanted Anthony and Casey and Aaliyah in the bottom 2 so that they could put Casey and Aaliyah through. But they couldn't justify sending home Scarlett.
Why does it matter? Dalton's gonna win. I feel like he's just been running away with this whole thing.
I'm excited though. But let's start talking about performances. I want to get into it.
All right, let's get into it. So first up on the ABBA week, which the not ABBA week, it was.
Let's just do the ABBA performances. We can do them all at the end of each contestant because it's like I have like a. All
right, so we'll talk about
each of them.
We'll talk about the Brendan block, like the Danny block, and kind of go from there. Is that what you're thinking?
For Saturday, yes, and then for Sunday, right. I want to do it separate.
Sure. So for Brendan, first up, let's talk about him doing "Run" by Snow Patrol. He has a kind of a nice little intro package. The fact that I just wrote down the fact that he got this far is really amazing, and for his performance. I think it was the second best of the season. I thought the Say Something performance was very strong. And this was also like, I thought this was a well-done performance. Do you think so?
100% agreed. I think this actually might have been better than the Say Something performance. I think those two are neck and neck for me. They were his 2 best performances of the season. And I honestly thought, I wrote in my live blog, I thought he might survive after this. I thought it was good enough that it might save him, but it didn't. So,
he got a standing ovation. Like when I saw that,
everyone did.
I was like, oh, like there might be hope. But this was before we saw everyone else. Like, he was first. And when I saw this animation, I was like, okay, this might be a good sign. But unfortunately, the inchworm didn't quite make it to the end. But let's talk about his ABBA performance. I do need to.
I could just say that his part in the ABBA medley was the third best part of the 6, in my view.
I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there. This is a contestant that's like kind of grown like a lot this season, and it's kind of just
inchworm. You could call him a caterpillar, because then they could say it turned into a butterfly, and then the butterfly got burned alive. Mistake.
I mean, like, it was a fitting metaphor, I feel, a little bit.
Inchworm was a better metaphor than what I just came up with.
Because a butterfly, like, is like more for a Haley Reinhardt, I feel like. This is more of a...
But do inchworms, like, change at all, or no? Do they just stay the same?
I think they keep inching on. I'm not that into inchworm biology. But for his ABBA song, it's I Have a Dream was what it was.
I think. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really know ABBA music that well, but these performances, they were kind of like rapid fire a little bit, but not also that much.
The ABBA ones were 100% rapid fire.
So I mean, I wasn't. It felt more like when you watch like on American Idol, like the intro, like they all do like a group kind of performance. It was a little bit like that.
It was, but it was better than that, because like a full minute and 15 seconds of it.
Yeah, so it was a little bit more, but like I feel there's more really to talk about for his run performance. He goes out in the CC Fry spot, which is now officially going to be the CC Fry spot in my mind.
He could have been 5th.
Do you think he was? Maybe.
We will find out next week.
Oh, we will actually. Final thoughts on Brendan. I mean, he for me, he made this season a little bit more enjoyable. Like, he was the unlikely, the person who doesn't quite fit in, and he's like, you're just kind of rooting for the kid for as long as he can go. And unfortunately, it ended this week. But like I said, just the fact that he made it this far was memorable enough. Do you agree? Okay. All right. Let's move on to Danny. He is performing "This Is My Life" by Shirley Bassey. I think was
Shirley Bassey. I think
Shirley Bassey. Are you familiar with this song, Eric?
I have not heard the song before yesterday. I will say it was a competent vocal. I thought it was a bit shouty at parts. Honestly, I thought he was better in previous weeks, and I do want to touch on that interview situation, because this is like Danny's like been consistently putting his foot in his mouth in interviews. From when he said that I know I'm not going to win on a talk show a couple weeks ago, to
at least he's like being honest. Like I can appreciate, like, he has this self-awareness. Like, would you rather him be like, honest. Oh, I could totally win? Like, I totally understand. Like, I don't know.
He's fully honest. Like, he said he's proud to be a club singer and a karaoke singer, reason to go back there. Yeah, you're probably right. That's honest. I like that. I respect his honesty, but still, if you want to keep going, that's not what you say. So, he was super gracious after being eliminated, though, and I did appreciate that. I thought his ABBA part was the weakest of the 6. Well, tied for weakest of the 6.
I just feel like for Danny, like, this performance, his run on the show, it kind of, I don't want to say this like as a harsh thing, but it kind of didn't have any versatility. It was kind of like the same thing every time, a little bit. Like, it's like going to a restaurant. And
that far. I've seen much more samey runs than him, and one of them was this season, actually. And we'll get to them.
I just feel like we haven't, like, and there was like a ceiling for like where Danny is going to go for like his performances. It's been hit at some point, and we probably were not going to go anywhere beyond that. For his performance, it was, like you mentioned, it was very loud. It didn't really have much more, though, for me. Like, it was just, I don't know. I don't want to like jump on the guy.
It never blew me away.
It's him and I kind of have the same notes for like him and Anthony a lot. Like, it's competent, but it's like forgettable. Like, it's I don't know what makes like a performance that way versus like I don't know what he was missing that like why wasn't he memorable, Eric, is the question. Like, was it just because we have Dalton and we have Brendan? Like, what was he missing?
Scarlett? Yeah, I think it's just the comparison, honestly. I feel like if there weren't other more talented people this year, Danny could do better, but there were, so.
I don't know. He never really, his entire run has kind of been like B, occasional B plus B. Like, that's just been how things have gone. Like, it's just, I feel like of the 3 contestants, he definitely warranted his elimination at this spot. I feel if he had made it, it would have been really not good if he had made it through. But,
I think Casey and Elliot deserve to go before him.
But I think he's at least aware enough to know like this. Like, I feel like this is not going to be
He had like the bye speech planned weeks ago.
I shared the picture on Twitter of Plankton going, I didn't think I'd get this far. I feel like that picture can kind of be used for a number of people. Yep. And maybe Danny is one of them.
Yep.
For his ABBA performance really quickly, I mean, it was all right. Like, it was...
He got the least amount of time as well.
Yes.
He got the other 5 joining in.
I did notice that. And, like what... It's Danny. Like, it's going to be the same thing. And I do, though, want to say, like, I just so much appreciate his self-awareness. Like, if more contestants could be like this, I would appreciate it a little bit more.
I like it sometimes, but it's not smart to get votes, but it was very likable, at least.
From the cynics like us. Like, at least, like, all right. Do you have any final thoughts on Danny? Any final words of eulogy of his run on the show?
Dead.
His eulogy of his run on the show, I said. I didn't say.
I know.
He is not dead. I was just...
I know. Nothing else to say. Let's move on to the chosen one.
All right. Let's talk about Dalton Harris. He is performing Feeling Good. This song, as soon as he started singing, I was like, why didn't he sing this last week for Big Band Week? Like, this is like the perfect Big Band song.
But it doesn't matter. Honestly, I like that he started off a cappella. I like that. Visuals were a bit weird, slightly hard to look at. Less bad than the guest performance I made you watch from Raxu a couple weeks ago, but still quite hard to look at. But if I close my eyes and listen to it, he nailed that vocal.
I'm gonna say, like, I wasn't that bothered by the background. I mean, it was cool. I mean, it didn't really take me out of the performance. It really affected you, though, Eric?
A little bit, honestly. I mean, I still loved it, and I thought his vocals were still absolutely astonishingly good. But yeah,
I'm gonna disagree a little bit. And before we do, I just want to say, like, as a preface to this little thing I'm gonna say. First of all, Feeling Good is, if we end up doing that podcast talking about like the most overdone songs, this needs to be there.
It will be.
Right? It's always like, it's a great song. It's usually like sung well, and it's usually like a moment, but it's so overdone at this point, a little too much. But I did write, though, it was still a perfect choice for Dalton. But for me, this was the first performance of Dalton's that I actually kind of really didn't like, which is a little bit weird to say, because this performance kind of has like a moment written all over it. Like, this song is just made for those big moments. But when he started singing, first his acapella was, by the way, before I say this, Dalton, I'm being a little bit critical, but that does not make Dalton, like, I'm not giving this like a B. This was like, he's usually an A plus. This is like an A minus for me. I'm just saying that this is a song that when I've heard it done so many times, it needs like a beat, like to breathe. It needs like that moment, like that. I can't really quite describe it. Like when someone sings it, Dalton was kind of rushing it. And that was one thing that was really bothering me, because this is a song that needs that, like, that you kind of take the note, you hold it, and you let it go. And you just hold it until it disappears.
Of the 3 performances he did this weekend, this was my least favorite of the 3.
It could have been, though, because he has that ability. Maybe it was just because he was nervous, but I feel like this is not a song to rush. This is a song that kind of needs to live in the moment. It needs that, like, the finesse, he was kind of like, it's a new dawn, it's a new, like he was a little bit rushing through it, and he could have, like, this could have been another A+ performance, and I'm a little bit bummed that he was kind of, it could have been the best of the season, honestly, for me. It was just, he was making a lot of weird choices also. Like, he was going into falsetto at points that, like, I was like, this is weird. Why are you doing this? This is not like, this is being affected because you're just making very strange choices in the performance. Like, your voice is still stellar, but you're just doing things that aren't making sense to me. Like, it could have been something more.
I get that, but of the 3 performances you did this weekend, this was my least favorite, as I'll say again. I thought his ABBA performance was, the minute and 15 seconds of it were excellent, sublime, and I wish I could have heard the rest of the song.
For the ABBA performances, I wrote that this was the best one of the bunch of the 6 that I enjoyed the most. I liked it because I didn't know this song. Like, I didn't know.
I knew the song, and he nailed it.
But very good. Good performance. I mean, Dalton has still consistently, like, I'm not taking anything away from him. I just wish that when he was performing feeling good, like, he had taken his time with it. And that's just a gripe that, like, kind of reduced it from being that A+ performance.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to Acacia and Aaliyah. They are performing, they actually performed the same song, like,
twice.
And we're going to touch on this problem a little bit later. They're doing Blinded by Your Grace and I Win. This was a mashup. Am I correct, Eric?
Of course.
Have they always done mashups? Like,
seems like it. I don't think they've done a single week where they've just done one song. It's been a long time, at least, if they have.
Yeah. Eric, what do you make of this performance?
If I didn't want them gone before this week, singing a song that contained a lyric "One time for the Lord" would have done the trick for me. That would have been enough.
What does that even mean? What does that mean?
But whatever it means, it was enough for me to say they were dead last in my ranking this week.
I don't know how they made it this far. Like, I'm being honest. Like, I think of Bella. I think of, oh my god, I can't think of anyone else. I think of Bella. Like,
even Shan was
Giovanni, Shan. Like, why are they not here and we have them? Like, I know that this is harsh to say, but, like, they have been outclassed for, like, a number of weeks now, like, vocally, and, like, they're kids and they're not performing to the standards of, even Shan, like, these who I've been, like, so harsh on, I feel deserves it a little bit more. And the fact that they made it through top 6 week, I was like, what? Why are they still here?
How
are they doing it?
And all I did this week, at least.
I don't know. I don't know what to say, Eric. I feel like I've used up all my notes for these people.
That's fine by me. Let's move on to the next 2.
Wait, we got to talk about their ABBA performance. They
rapping money.
They managed to take an ABBA song and turn it into.
It was bad. It was bad.
It was.
I would have much rather take that minute and split it and got an extra 30 seconds of Dalton and Scarlett.
If only.
Yep.
If only. But I've run out of notes to say. We'll be talking about them a little bit later. But let's move on for now to Anthony performing "Living on a Prayer," which
because he's literally living on a prayer.
How is he living on a prayer? Did we get some more information for what that means? What is that?
I have no idea what it means.
I was like, when he said that, I was like, what does that mean? Like,
I don't know. Anyway, it was another competent performance from Anthony, in my view. I think he might. I said not enough to get him to win, but top 3 entirely possible. Yep, 100%. I got that right.
You know, I've watched these seasons, like, of all these shows, of American Idol, of The X Factor, of The Voice, and usually, like, in the finale or, like, the top 3, there's usually that one contestant that kind of, like, somehow meanders their way, like, amongst the 2 front runners. And I don't know, you don't watch the show Dancing with the Stars, but it is a little bit relevant because Bobby Bones was on this season.
I've heard a lot about Bobby Bones not deserving to win.
And he actually won. And when I heard that he won, first of all, I actually started laughing like horribly because it was just
Fun story. So I'm at work and all my coworkers are talking about it too, and they're all laughing when they're talking about it as well. So,
and that as that happened, a horrible thought was like, that could happen here.
No, it won't. It won't.
Like at first, it was like for me a Casey and Aaliyah, and then it was like kind of now looking at Anthony like, are you our Bobby Bones?
Nope.
Like, are you our spoiler? But that's just fan fiction or me being.
If he had a chance in hell, honestly, they would have started busting him this week a lot harder than they did.
Maybe he does have a chance. Who's to say? Like like the fact that
based on the fact that producers clearly don't want him to win, I don't think he has a chance because otherwise they would have started the busting big time.
All right. Well, anyway, going back to his performance, this was a weird song choice, but I feel like I've said that a lot of times with Anthony. Like a lot of his songs are weird song choices, but usually when it's like Eye of the Tiger, he actually manages to like hold it back, like keep it going with a really strong performance. This was a weird song and a weird performance. It kind of was that first disconnect. Like usually there's like one or the other. Like it has like, it's a weird song, but it's a great performance, or it's a great performance, but it's a weird song. This was kind of like they didn't go at all. Like this was just weird.
I will say Anthony is super likable. And so I can't fault him for being in the top 3. He's likable. He hasn't had a bad performance. He hasn't had a great performance either. He's been B plus, B minus whole season.
I agree. He's never like it's crazy to me to say this, but like his most memorable performance was the Eye of the Tiger.
100%.
Which is because it was just kind of so unexpected, and he managed to like hold his own with it. But for me, this was just weird. Like this was like from him saying, "I'm living on a prayer." I was like, "What?" And then he starts singing, and I'm like, "Huh?" Like, it was just a little bit strange. Anthony's never had like a moment. He's never made it to that A minus, and I'll just say I'd rather it be him than a Casey and Aaliyah. At least like
100%.
If I had to choose, if our final 2, like the darkest timeline, Casey and Aaliyah and Anthony.
Don't go there. It's not gonna happen. He would be a better winner than last year's winner, but that's not saying much.
I just hope Dalton wins.
Oh, Dalton's gonna win.
All right, let's move on to Scarlett Lee in the pimp spot. We didn't touch on 1 second. We didn't talk about Anthony doing his ABBA song. He's doing Name of the Game. I wrote down
enough like always.
Good, and on that note, let's keep it going. Because what else is there really to say? Scarlett Lee is performing This Is Me. And on this note, we have performed all of the iconic songs from The Greatest Showman.
We have not done Rewrite the Stars yet, but guess what? James Arthur and Anne Marie are coming, who did on the compilation album, are going to be doing it on the final next week. We can't have more Greatest Showman. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm not complaining about that. I love James Arthur on that song. So.
Oh my god. I think I actually have to watch the show at some point to see like what all the excitement is about.
Apparently the movie's terrible, but the soundtrack is great.
I mean, like, I will admit, the first time I heard like This Is Me, I was like, okay, solid song. And then I continued to hear it and was like,
I'm not sick of it quite yet.
I was sick of it from Marriagestein, maybe.
God. That was like 15 performances ago.
It was probably like 5 performances of in my mind. There was like The Voice, then there was the X Factor, and then America's Got Talent. It was, let's not go into this. Scarlett, she has I feel like Simon really went all out with her. She's like all dressed in white. A choir comes and joins her. This was kind of, it felt like like Simon is screaming at the camera. This is a moment. This is like the big thing. This is the special thing. Were you getting those vibes? Were you getting that vibe?
I was, but honestly, I thought Scarlett's vocals lived up to that. I did. I thought she sang the snot out of it. Yeah.
I will say, I thought definitely one of her best performances for me. I still personally just really enjoy her big band song, They Can't Take My Eyes Off of You. I've actually rewatched it a couple of times. I still believe those like 8 seconds of her just at the table are probably some of the best singing all season, in my opinion, which is a little crazy to say. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you know that?
Not necessarily crazy.
All right, but for me, it was a little bit cheese. There's like a little bit of cheese to it. Like there was like a heart that someone was like holding up.
Oh, that's an audience member. They can't.
I don't think that.
They I'm gonna do it, but they can't prevent someone from doing that.
I'm full on cynic, so I believe like whoever like that was a producer's hand. Like they perfectly lined that up so Scarlett's like right in the center, like that you could see her. Like that's just me going full on cynic.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I'm the cynic that I'm not disagreeing with you, but
I totally believe, like, because there's not like some happenstance that an audience member's like this, perfectly in line for the camera to look directly through.
Who knows? Who cares?
I love to tear down the illusion a little bit.
Okay.
All right, but like I said, good performance. A little bit cheesy for me. This was still though a solid A- performance for me. It wasn't quite an A or an A+.
I thought it was an
A. That's so good. Like I'm not knocking her. I hope she finishes in second because it would be a bit of a shame if she didn't.
She's probably not going to at this point. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love her to sneak into second.
That'd be really crazy if I picked the first and second place.
I wouldn't care. I mean, as long as Dalton wins, I don't care.
All right. Finally, I just want to say it felt like a coronation, honestly, a little bit. Like that's what Simon was kind of going for. Like the vibe, like he was hoping, like projecting, like this is like her big moment. But honestly, let's move on to her ABBA performance. She performs.
The winner takes it all.
Yeah, more of the Simon kind of.
Well, someone sang that 2 years ago and had a moment with it. Her name was Sarah Alto.
I remember her.
She was always in the bottom, and then she ended up.
Was she the one who sang Lego House?
No.
There was some girl who sang Lego House on the show. I remember watching that performance. She had black hair, and like a lot of people didn't like her.
Emily
Middlemass? No, it was not Emily Middlemass.
Okay. It was not Sarah.
All right. Anyway, go on.
I thought her ABBA part was excellent. Again, along with Dalton, I wish I could have heard more of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of just ditto it because those weren't the like standouts. The ones that I were more focusing on were the actual like full length performances. And then we get to the results. We lose Danny and Brendan, and I was just as soon like I was hoping there was hope, and then as soon as a Casey and a Leah were called safe, I was like, nope.
Yeah,
and that's may a chorus of angels sing their runs on the show to thy rest.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and on that note, we move on to our semifinal performance shows. This was a different format. Usually we have like, are you a fan of them combining the results and the performances into one episode, Eric? Or do you not like it? This is
what they did for the semifinal round last year, basically, where they had all 6 perform on both nights. I mean, they had all the contestants perform on both nights. I like that for this week. If we're going to have less live shows, at least have more performances in the number of live shows that you have. So...
All right. So first up, we have Dalton. He is performing "Clown" by Emily Sandé. I wasn't familiar with the song. I think I've heard it once before, somewhere on Idol or something. But
I heard it on X Factor twice back in 2013 when Sam Bailey sang the song.
She was the mother police officer, right?
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
She did a great job with it. So did Dalton. What I liked about this performance was that it was a more subtle thing. It was a contrast to Feeling Good yesterday. And I like seeing 2 sides of his vocal, like doing more subtle performance versus like a more all-out performance. I thought this was excellent. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I like this more than Feeling Good, just because I was so turned off by him. Like that song really needs like that. Like to be taken time with. This was just a step up. It felt more comfortable. I like when he does these performances more like than the big ones. Do you, Eric?
I'm torn. He's done some of the big ones really well. But these subtle moments are also really, really impressive. So I'm torn.
All
He's
right.
just impressive all around, honestly.
Yeah, I gave it an A, honestly. I mean,
So would I.
which is consistent with all the others. But he's gonna ride this wave, I think, to the end. It would be quite a shock if he lost.
If he doesn't win.
If he doesn't win, I'm gonna end up watching The Greatest Showman. That will be my punishment for doubting Anthony and Scarlett's potential to win.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to Acacia and Aaliyah. They're doing Big for Your Boots and Shutdown. It's
For a third or fourth
another
time.
mashup. I actually went back. This is the third time they've performed this song. Is that a record? Like on all these shows?
It's not a record, but it ties the record.
What is the record? Who do they tie with?
A couple people. I remember there was a guy on X Factor US season 1 who did the same song multiple times.
What's going on here? Like why are they doing the same song? Do you think it's their choice? Is it the producer's choice? Is it
I don't know.
Coach's choice?
I don't know whose choice it is, but whatever it is.
I mean, like, it's one thing if you're Candace Glover and you have like a love song and you could just keep singing that song again. But this isn't even like the best song. Like, it's just like of all the songs to be repeating over and over, like,
why this one?
Why this one? Like, first of all, I don't know any ones that would be worth repeating, but like if I'm just saying, like, if you're Dalton and you can repeat a song, like, go for your best one.
He did.
Well, if you're gonna repeat it 3 times. So
I'm not sure. He might actually repeat Listen the third time on the final.
Yeah, while we're on that point, I wanna ask, do we get what are the formats for the final 3 performances?
So I don't know what songs we're doing what nights because it changes every year. I know they will do at least 2 songs on the first night and 2 songs on the second night.
Are they both for votes?
Both nights are for votes. So the format is they have the vote open after everyone performs once on Saturday night, and then they do it. The vote opens through the celebrity duets, which last year were also voting singles.
Are they original songs to singles?
Not always. Depends on the year.
Were they last year?
2 of them were.
Was the winners?
Yes.
Who won last year? I don't even remember. Was it
the
Matt Terry?
No, that was 2 years ago.
Oh, Rax 2.
Yeah.
No, we shouldn't talk about that.
Yeah, we should not.
All right.
But so what happens is they send home one at the end of Saturday night and then freeze the votes before they do that. And then they reopen the vote. And then on Sunday night, they go from 2 to 1.
That's just making it confusing.
So they kick off one on Saturday, one on Sunday.
All right. We'll see. All right. Going back to Acacia and Aaliyah.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Anthony
After
Russell.
that, we have Anthony Russell doing Don't Look Back in Anger. Never heard this song either. Did you, Eric?
Nope. I will say, after Simon basically said that he wanted Acacia and Aaliyah in the final, I thought Anthony was a goner. And he would have been if Scarlett was not on the bottom 2. So
I'm really starting to think like we might have really been underestimating Anthony all season because the fact that they're pulling out the
we'll know next week.
We will. For me, like, it was good, but like it wasn't
competent as always.
I don't know what. Maybe it's his song choice. I don't know what Anthony was like doing wrong, but he's just. Maybe it is just a song choice. Maybe is it the mentoring? Like, why is he not? Do you think he's capable of better than this, or
I don't honestly? I think his voice. I think it's because his vocal is limited. I think if he could have had a big moment, he would have had one by now. I think this is the best he can do with his vocal, which is good. So
have we really heard him do like a full-on ballad this season? Like a full?
We have not,
which is weird. Like to go all the way and make it all the way to 3rd place, like, and no ballads. Have we ever seen like a singer like that on any of these shows, like a run like that?
We've seen people who are terrible make it to the end on X Factor.
No. I mean, people have like consistently stuck to more like up tempo songs, like who have done more.
And they've been terrible. but we've had this happen.
Did that girl? I said
Fleur?
her name wrong. Yeah.
So Fleur sang 2 ballads.
I'm just like a little bit impressed. Like that is like a little bit impressive. That like usually the ballads are like the Mario Kart like the power up or something like that makes you go faster a little bit. And the fact that he kind of made it all the way to third is just a little bit impressive to me.
Wait a second, probably, but
all right, let's move on to our final performance for the competition show. It's Scarlett Lee performing. I didn't know my own strength, or
yes. She did this in judges' houses.
It's crazy to me to look back. Like back then, I didn't think she was gonna make it this far, and I do want to say like it is kind of impressive that she's all the way here.
So here's what I want to talk about. So what I did before we started recording this actually is I went back because I looked up videos of all of the top 24 back when the names were leaked back in like July, I think it was. I didn't predict any of these people in the final.
Who did you predict?
Well, obviously, Misunderstood were one of the ones one of those groups that I liked, but they never lived up to that video that I watched on YouTube. And I liked Dalton's voice, but I hated he was a reggae singer.
Listen by Beyonce for the first episode that I watched. What did he do for his audition?
Listen by Beyonce, but when I first saw Dalton back in July, it was a reggae song, a reggae version of Adele. And I loved his voice, but I hated the arrangement. And so I totally wrote him off. Anthony, I didn't watch anything from because I watched him last year and I didn't like him last year. And Scarlett, I didn't remember her from last year, but I assumed she was someone else. I didn't watch anything of hers. So all of them really surprised me, honestly. But
basically, Eric is saying he hates our top 3.
No, I'm saying I didn't like our top 3 back in July. But they delivered, except for Anthony, as much. But Dalton and Scarlett thoroughly deserve their places in the top 2.
Yeah, I'm going to say for her performance, I really like this one. Not my favorite of her performance. I'm going to just keep going back. Like, I don't know if I'm, like, just overhyping, like, not the best, but I still just really love that big band song.
I honestly thought this was excellent. I was shocked she wasn't in the top 2, but thankful that the judges couldn't pretend that she didn't totally slay the sing-off, and that
Yeah, let's talk on the sing-off because Casey and Aaliyah and
they both
repeated yeah, they both. As soon as Casey and Aaliyah started doing their performance, and I was like, oh my god, they're singing the exact same song they sang last time. I was like, why are you doing this? And then it made sense when Scarlett started performing, and it made sense. They were both just. Because it's a lot of songs to do.
They couldn't come up with a 4th, so
maybe just because it's a lot of songs to do.
Yeah,
like in a week. Like I understand that. I give them a pass for that. I feel like Scarlett blew them away, like brutally.
100%. It was the most lopsided sing-off I think I've ever seen.
It's like imagine if 2 waves are like coming to meet each other in like an ocean, and whichever like wins is the best. And Casey and Lily are like this big, and Scarlett's like.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right metaphor, but I will say it was the most lopsided sing-off I think I've seen in the show's history. It was so clear who won.
I will say, though, once I saw that Scarlett was in the bottom, I was like, uh-oh. Oh, no.
I was slightly worried as well, but...
I was like, oh, no, please don't let this happen.
Uh-huh.
But thankfully, we end up with Scarlett making it into the final 3, making our final 3, Anthony, Dalton, and Scarlett. And now, Eric... we come to the finale, and I have a question for you. Who's it going to be? Who's our winner going to be?
Dalton.
Who's going to be our runner-up?
Anthony.
No, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to guess it's going to go Dalton, Scarlett, Anthony in that order. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Do they do celebrity duets also?
They do, and last year, like I was saying, the celebrity duets were actually served as the winner single.
What?
Last year, that's what we did.
Really?
So what they did is they did like a studio recording, the rehearsal recording of the celebrity duets, and released them as a winning single last year. So I'm not sure if we'll do that again this year, but we'll know in a couple days.
All right. So some final questions. Eric, did we get the right top 3 here?
We got 2 out of 3, which ain't bad.
We were predicting that you were predicting that this would be our top 3 for a while, right? Like this was
Anthony. No, I mean I thought Shan was going to be there instead of Anthony, but other than that,
I felt like a lot of people were saying Anthony like 3rd, 4th. Like we were always saying like if one of the final 3 kind of loses their places, Anthony might be able to sneak his way up there. I don't see his appeal. Like it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me that how he made it over Brendan. Like what did he have over Brendan that made him get more votes?
A backstory, a connection with Louis Tomlinson, and more likability, more personality.
You know, sometimes that's all it is. That's all you really need, honestly. But do you have any final thoughts on these 2 episodes, Eric? Any final things you want to touch on before we head to the close?
Not really. I thought it was a strong week. I can't wait for next week. I'm excited to see some of the guest performances, particularly James Arthur. The rest I don't care about. And I'm excited to see Dalton win. Can't wait to hear his winning single.
I'm just like preparing like if Anthony wins. Can you imagine?
It's never been that much of a shock on X Factor. I mean, it was once, but
did Raxu, were they a surprise?
No, they were the favorites from the beginning.
Who did they beat? Who was the runner-up?
Grace, who was so much better than them.
Grace
Davis.
Was she really good?
I liked her a lot.
Who came in 3rd? Maybe if we just keep going down eventually.
Who I also liked a lot.
You never know.
I would have put honestly what I would have done on the top 3 is put Raxu at 3rd and then move the other 2 up.
I don't know. And honestly, I'm excited to see. Are we going to film our reactions for the finale? Is that going to be something that's going to happen?
Nope.
No finale reactions.
Nope.
Maybe for Idol when that comes.
Maybe you can. We'll see. I'm done filming my reaction. I filmed it for Shinlim. It was embarrassing. I took it down.
Mine is still up. My reaction to oh my god, Maddie.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Have you had a chance to listen to her new song?
No.
I kind of liked it. It was good. All right. Anyway, I just want to say to our viewers, my name is Adam Samuel. You can find me on Twitter at AdamSoapbox or on my 2 websites, AdamSoapbox.com and AdamCBblog.com. I am excited because there's going to be a new post up on my Soapbox blog this week. It is done. It is funny, and hope you'll check it out. Where can we find you, Eric, though?
Eric_Ascher on Twitter, ericascher.com, youtube.com/ericascher01, and you can find both of our podcasts. You can find this podcast on iTunes now, and it's still available. Adam TV Podcast -audio, and you'll find us. Or you can subscribe to the RSS feed using the link in the comments I'm going to post here as usual. So subscribe to the audio version, rate, subscribe, like, share it with your friends. I'll have this episode posted. I know this is really funny for the meta version. So if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, thank you. But if you're not, it'll be posted tomorrow. So,
Eric, next week is going to be our final episode covering the X Factor UK. For the year. And from then on, it's going to be a March to January for our coverage of America's Got Talent, The Champions, which I'm a little bit excited about. I mean, we've kind of know some things that might have happened, or all of it, a little bit.
Maybe. But there were conflicting things in the Reddit thing, so I don't know.
Oh, I knew that there was conflicting things, but I didn't want to mention them because the person who might have won might be someone that you might be very happy to see win, and didn't want to say that.
I'm not going to talk about it because it's too far away.
All right, we'll be covering that to fill in the gap between from that time. We do have some ideas for some smaller podcasts we're going to be doing. One is going to be talking about like some of the most overdone songs, the best of the most overdone performances. Hopefully there are no asteroids, but I feel like there's probably going to be an asteroid.
There will be, and I have a pick for that one already.
I'm feeling some Whitney Houston songs. I'm feeling good.
Greatest Showman The
Greatest Showman is now going to be on it. The Phil Collins song. Is it Phil Collins? The Take a Look at Me Now song. Oh,
Against all odds.
It's going to be awful. I'm excited, though. But, oh, man, to revisit all those songs again. Eric, what do you think has been the most overdone song on these shows? Like the number one spot from the most of all the songs?
I think it's a tie. Can I say two?
Sure.
Asteroid Song and I Have Nothing.
Yep, I was going to say I Have Nothing. Which we'll touch on it during our upcoming podcast. And on that note, Eric, I want to say thank you for joining me for this episode. This was a good conversation. I weep for our lost Inchworm, but I feel like it's the inevitable Dalton win, and we're just kind of marching
Congrats
towards it
on
a
your
little bit.
victory in the draft. I'll say it now.
All right. To our viewers, we will see you again next week for our final episode of the X Factor UK. And until then, peace.